What is up, everybody? My name is Joseph Allen. I'm here today to teach you how to change guitar strings. If you are on the website, awesome. And if you're watching this video through one of the other platforms, social media, wherever you are, come on over to the website. I'd love to have you. Tons of awesome stuff to learn from. Check it out. We got tons of great stuff. And with that all being said, let's dive into this video and how to change guitar strings. Now, first of all, the same concept is there to change strings on any instrument. Particularly, I'm talking about the guitar today, obviously, but the main concept is there to change strings on any instrument. So what are some things you're going to need? Well, obviously, you're going to need some guitar strings. Be like, no, Joe, you need guitar strings to change strings on a guitar? Yes, you do, absolutely. And some of my personal favorites are right here. Elixir and Ernie Ball aluminum bronze. Those are some of my preferred favorite guitar strings out there. They actually are my favorite guitar strings. I am not paid or endorsed, sponsored, any means whatsoever to tell you that and list these strings. These are my personal favorites. What I put out here, I enjoy, I love, I personally use and recommend, so you don't have to sift through and waste your money on buying stuff like that to figure it out. If Ernie Ball or Elixir is watching this and you would like to sponsor me, hey, come on, let's work something out. All right, so let's get into what kind of strings. I recommend, if you don't have a lot of finesse and you're not a player that plays with a lot of finesse, you're gonna need like medium gauge. They'll say it on here. I mean, on Elixir, you got it kind of right here what they're gonna say. Like mine says HD Light. You know, right here it's gonna say medium gauge, and this just means the thickness of the strings. So if you're not a player that plays with finesse, I would recommend getting just medium gauge. It's gonna be the best because it applies in this way. I mean, the thicker the string, the darker the sound. The thinner the string, the brighter the sound. Okay, thicker, darker, lighter, brighter. But my personal favorite for the aluminum bronze Ernie Ball is medium gauge. I like medium gauge for those strings. If I'm using Elixirs, I like the HD Light. I think they got the best sound for me. Personally, I enjoy them. I think the best tone comes from the custom light, which will be right here. And like I said, it lists it out. And it tells you, so you can see on the images and stuff like that what you're wanting to get. But those are my personal favorites for the best tone. HD Light, which I use, I think just has the best sound for me. The custom light just lacks drive when I play. And so if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of drive, get the custom light. I think they have the best sound. If you want HD Light, best tone, more of a drive, I like drive. I enjoy that. I get the HD Light. So with that being said, let's dive into this. But again, if you don't have finesse, medium gauge, it's just the best, because you get to the point where when you play, if you push too hard, you're gonna get your tones get messed up. You don't push hard enough, your tones getting messed up, and then you're playing flat, you're playing sharp. It's tricky, on the guitar. You can't just push the strings and it makes the note sound perfect. It's not like a piano. Guitar and piano have pros and cons. That's a pro for piano. When you play the C note, it plays that note perfectly as long as it's in tune. And if you have a keyboard, hey, even better, right? And a guitar's not that way. So you have to get this finesse, and medium gauge will help you do that. So I recommend those. Now, with that being said, another thing you're going to need is a pro winder. If you do not know what a pro winder is, like me, I grew up playing in South America, Brazil. We didn't have this. I came back and I was telling all my friends, I was like, do you guys know what this is? This is awesome. They're like, yes, Joe, everyone knows what a pro winder is. And I'm like, we didn't have this overseas, man. I'm from a third world country. Like, that's so cool right there. That's where I learned to play guitar. One small thing you will need is a guitar tuner. Yeah, if you can't tune by ear, then you're really going to want one of these. I can tune by ear, but I still have them, and thee absolutely great. They're a must. They are a must for guitar. And one of the ones that I love, I think that are the best, is a Polytune. Makes these by TC Electronics. These are kind of a little harder to find. Most of them are made now for guitar pedals. It's like a guitar tuner pedal, which in my mind are probably the best guitar tuners on the market. This is just one you can clamp on to the headstock of your guitar. But these are probably the best ones you can get. A little pricey. But also a super great one is this one right here. It's a Snark guitar tuner, and it is like not super expensive at all. It's super cheap price, super affordable. And so if you want a great tuner to start on, and even some guys that are super experienced use Snarks. These are great, and you can't great for the price. I'd recommend having one of these. All these items you can find below in the description of the video, or you can check it out on my website. I have a whole store. If you want to support me and my ministry, that's a great place to just buy them through and support me. So with that being said, let's dive into this. All right, yes, I do not have anything fancy to kind of keep my guitar propped up and stuff like that. So I got like a towel right here. Yep, just doing it old style. I don't want to scratch it, so I'm not Mr. Fancy. So all right, so what we're going to want to do first, and I'll tell you right here, this is where obviously take the strings off. And this is where a lot of people mess up, okay? They pull all their strings off, and what ends up happening, they put them back on, and sometimes the frets will buzz. I've had that happen to me. I've had that happen to several friends. A lot of times it won't, but there are some times it does happen, and then you got to adjust the truss rod yourself, and it just gets to be in a terrible mess. If you happen to do that, my recommendation is to let it sit a day or two, and most times the buzzing will just stop and go back to normal, and you don't have to adjust the truss rod if your guitar has one. If your guitar does not have a truss rod, then you definitely don't want to be pulling all the strings off at the same time. I change my strings out one at a time, and this just ensures the neck is going to stay perfectly flat like it needs to. There's not going to be any unwanted buzzing when I'm playing on the frets, and it's just the best way. Some people have no issues. I have seen the opposite, so I prefer just to do it this way, and I don't even have to worry about it. So now you will talk with some guys that work on like luthier, potato, and most of them won't care. But if you find someone that actually knows what he's talking about, then what they'll actually recommend you do, you can take all the strings off, but when you put them back on, you want to start putting the center strings on and work your way back out. So like, for example, I'm going to change the middle string, and then I'm going to change this D string over here. Then I'm going to change this B string, and then I'm going to change the A string up top. Then I'm going to change this E string, the high E string, and then I'm going to change the low E string up here. And this just ensures that your little, in Portuguese we call this a sela, we call it a saddle. And if you take all the strings off, what's going to end up happening down here is the saddle, which is this little piece right on the bridge down here. And what it does is it gets tilted around and stuff like that. And so when you put all the strings on, it will typically get like, I'll give you a demonstration, it'll make this side deeper, or it'll make that side deeper, and this will be end up higher. And it doesn't stay flat, it doesn't stay flush. And then it makes you play out of tune. So, and then you got to go and take it to somebody if you don't know how to do it, and get it adjusted to stay flat. But now, listen, some of you are probably freaking out. It's like, oh my gosh, wow, I don't want to do that. It's like, but if you just change the string one at a time, or you start in the center and work your way out, rotating each side until you're all the way out, from the inside out, then you don't have anything to worry about at all. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to change one string at a time. That's just my preferred method. You can take them all off and start in the center and work your way out, but that's okay. I had one of my buddies call me he called us like at midnight, and called me and my brother, and I was like, well, somebody better be dying. And then he was like, it's my guitar, the neck's messed up. I was like, calm down, man, relax, we'll get through this, it's gonna be okay. And he had just taken all the strings off and started up and worked his way down, and then it was buzzing. But he waited 24 hours, and his guitar was back to normal, so it gives a scare. Now, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this end right here, and I'm going to pop it on right there, and I'm going to unwind my string. I'm going to take this end down here. I'm going to zoom in for y'all right here. And what we're going to do right here is we're going to take, we're going to take this end of the Pro winder, okay? And we're just going to slide that on top and kind of slowly go in. And it just pops out real easy. If you don't have this, it's no big deal. You can just get like a little rag and get some pliers and twist and, kind of pull them out. It will chew your bridge pins up over time a little bit, but it's no big deal. You can get these for like so stinking cheap. It's not even funny to replace these, and it's just easy. A lot of people freak out, but it's no big deal. It's all right. Now, we're going to take this. I just wind it up. Twist it, and slide it in, and I get out of the way. Oh, don't do that. Ow. That's why you double knot, kids. Ouch. And then what we're going to do is just keep going down the process. Now, we're going to take our strings, open up the package, and it makes it really simple, okay, in this package. And all strings are like this. They're going to have numbers. The smallest number being the thinnest string, all the way to the biggest number being the thickest string. So it's really easy to know what's going on and working your way down. So I'm starting at the top, thickest string. It works all the way down to the thinnest string. Piece of cake. So I'm going to start with the thickest string right here. Open that up. Get it pulled out. And what I'm going to do is slide that in there. I'm going to get my little bridge pin. Pop it in. Just pop it right back in. Yeah, make kind of a bad noise, but it's all right. And I just want that. I want that string to be all the way at the top. Sometimes too much string can sit down, and when you're tuning, there's still more in there. And then when you start playing, it's woo and stretches out, and then your guitar sounds really bad out of tune. So you just want to make sure it's right there at the top, and there's not too much sitting in there. All right, and then we're going to bring it up through here. And there's going to be a little hole in there, and we're just going to slide it right through that hole, just the eye of the needle right there. Come on. Gets right in there. And we are going to pull it through. You're going to want to keep your hand down the bridge pan. Sometimes it can get loose or too tight and just pops it out. So just make sure your bridge pin stays down below at the base. Now, here's where a lot of people do different things. I personally enjoy to do this method. It guarantees that your guitar is going to stay in tune. A lot of people don't know that. They think you got to play for several days to keep the tuning, get the guitar to stay in tune. That's absolutely not true. You can keep a guitar in tune without ever playing on it or breaking it in. And I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. So follow these tips very, very closely. I want it tight. I don't want any room. A lot of people will leave room and wind it around, get a lot in here to go, and I don't want that. I want it tight. So I want it tight, and what I'm going to do, it's hard to do this one hand, guys, with a camera. Okay. Make that tight. You want just enough room to bring it over. One hand with a camera. You gotta love it. That's too loose. And I hope that bridge pin stays down there. I can't use two hands. It's gonna block the view. Okay. Down. Pop that There we go. Pop it in right there, and it's going to sit right on top there. You see how the string comes up and it goes literally around back here, around that thing, and then it comes through here over, okay, just like that, and it makes it really tight. And then when I start tightening, you want to make sure the string is sitting, that string on the thicker side. On the thicker strings, they sit on the inside right here. You don't want them sitting on this side coming down. You want them sitting on this side coming down right there. It's very important, so it just doesn't get in the way and hit the other strings. So I can get my little pro winder right here. Watching my bridge pin back there. What I want it to do is when it's going underneath this, guys, I want it to go underneath this part right here. I want it to slide underneath there. Let's talk about what your guitar needs to be tuned to. I'm going to list them here out on the screen. We're going to do E, A, D. Yeah, I'm a homeschooler. I'm having to count here. You have to give me a second. E, A, D, G, B, and E. Thank goodness they all fit on 2 fingers, 2 hands. All right, now the thickest string being the low E string, then the low A, the low D, G, high B, and then high E. I guess it'd just be the B and the high E, but you get my point. And typically on guitar, you label them from, like, you know, we start on like 1st string, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Why do we go from thinnest up? I don't know. It's just the way it is. So what we're going to look at, and that's how you need to tune them. So there are typically 3 types of guitar tuners. You're going to have one that's just a little handheld device, and you can even get an app for your phone. It basically works. It's the same thing, and it will tune your guitar for you. You can get some of them where there's actually like a guitar tuner built in. This one does not have it. My Taylor doesn't have one, and that's okay. It's actually built into the side of the guitar, and you can do it that way. And then another type is this, and these are my absolute preferred favorite. They're more accurate because they sit on, you can put them anywhere, but they typically sit on, like, you'll clamp them on right here, and you'll tune it from right there, and it feels the vibrations of the guitar rather than listening for the sound, and then you'll just tune away, and it will show you where you need to be. So, for example, on this one, let's look at this. It's loose. We're going to work our way up. There's the E. But that's actually too loose, so. Just checking my bridge pin down there. That's what we want right there. If it goes above it, it's too sharp. It's in the middle, that's just right. All right. And the same process is applied to all of the guitar strings. So let's go on down the rest of the way and tune the rest of these bad boys. Sweetness. And that is the process to change one string, and now we're going to go and basically apply it to all the others, and we get to the, I'll go ahead and tell you guys this now so when we get there. But as you can see on my guitar, the headstock right here, you see how these strings all sitting towards, even on this side, all the strings line up. They sit on the inside of the guitar stock right here. Sitting on the inside, sitting on the inside, sitting on the inside. All my strings right here. Sits on the inside, sits on the inside, sits on the inside, 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 inside. And what that enables it to do is just not to hit the other strings and stuff like that, or like these little brackets and stuff. It's just the best way to go about it. So now that we've done this, I'm going to apply it to all the strings and teach you guys the next step. Little side note, I have had some friends who, when they tune these things, the string breaks off and whoosh, slaps them right across the face. Getting hit and slapped with metal doesn't feel very good for most people. So a lot of times people, instead of having it flat, they'll point it, the guitar, they'll tune it sideways and point it away from them. I've never had that happen to me, but some people have pet peeves with that. So just be aware.
He wants you to see you're not too small to bring change. Oh, you should always know you're not inconsequential.
Music to my ears. And this is a little tune we like to call the Virgin Mary giving birth. Jeez. Okay. Now, all your strings are on. So let's make sure we get these in tune. Remember the order, and remember when you're turning, as I've already showed you before with your tuners, and you got them clamped on or whatever device you're using, and you're just watch it. You can always do too little. If you do too much, you know, hey, it snaps and you got to put a new one on. So, I mean, it's better to do less than more, but don't freak out about it. It's really okay. There's been a couple times I pop strings, you know, it happens, but just go slow and you'll be fine. Don't do what I did and go, oh, I'll crank it on. Yeah, that's what you get. Way to go, Joe. Good job. And so now let's fine tune these. There we go. You just want it to sit right in the middle. Oops. Keep in mind, I've already tuned these semi with my ear, so you'll have to go a lot. You have to turn it a lot more than I am right now. You don't know how hard it is to tune while you're filming until you do it. I always used to give those guys a hard time. Why are they struggling so much to tune that? It's not that hard until you add a camera. I take back everything I said about you guys. All those guys out there recording this stuff. Sweet. With these right here, a lot of people like to leave them on, and they'll actually like come in and to give them a few days to stretch, and they'll just go around and they'll wind them on, and they'll do that just to keep them there, and they'll go all the way around. just allow the strings to stretch a little bit. And I'll be honest with you, I did that all the time because people say it works. Some people say it doesn't. But when I learned this next technique I'm about to show you, I did away with this. There's no reason for it, but if you want to do it, you can. We're just going to take our Pro Winder, take the end that cuts the strings off, and we're going to go in, get as close as we can to the end next to that little thing right there, and just take it right off. Same thing with the next one. Let me get my head down here. Oh, that's the problem. Okay. Just kind of stuck right there. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Clamp that off. I'm just going to make my way around. If you don't have these Pro Winders, you can just use a pair of like wire cutters and stuff, but these are so cheap. I think this is around like $10, depending on where you buy it, of course. So yeah, I better not say the price. Then someone's going, "He said it was that was not the price at all." It's really cheap. You guys get my point. Just go out there and see which store can get where, but you can get all of them in the description of the video below or in my shop. So all that's done, taken care of. And if you'll even look here, I'm going to zoom in so y'all can see how neat these things look when they're wound. See if I can get it. Good close up look sideways. See how they're not like going all cattywampus. They're not everywhere. They look really nice. They look really tight, and that's what we're looking for. It helps with tuning. I mean, just anything and everything. The strings aren't running over each other. There's not a lot of space in between them, and it just makes the tuning that much better. So as long as you follow my steps, you'll be fine. All right, now I'm going to teach you guys how to keep this thing in tune.